10, but whatever we say. Ladies, to your left, across. This side here, please.
Everybody look this way.
Right in the center back here. Here we go.
Can we get your piece of
And a little.
And everybody straight ahead.
right?
Guys, and then James, all the way to the right. Search a little bit to your right, please. Miss Watson, please. Emma, a little bit to your right. Greta's going. Greta, ladies.
No way, Greta, step down.
Laura, all the way now. Florence, right here. Florence, Eliza, you're
Come on down.
and right next to you. Thank you. And Lewis, right down on you. Feet to your right, please.
Can I have both of you at the same time right here?
No, it's possible.
Amy right here.
And right next to her.
It's hard because I don't want to give anything away, but the ending for the story is so beautiful. I think it will give readers and moviegoers the chance to kind of see the story in a new light, which is so beautiful. It's very funny. I think Greta is a master comedian, and the story is warm, and I think it's also, people will be shocked how quick the pace of it is. It's really dynamic. It does not feel slow. It does not feel period drama-y. It feels very modern, and I'm obviously proud of it. I think that what's so beautiful is that every single one of the sisters someone can relate to on their path of their journey, or whether there's just a character in there for everyone that resonates, and it's I love that about it. It's kind of across the board. What's beautiful about the story is that my character Meg is really the foil to Jo's story, who knows she wants to walk a very independent path, and Meg is the romantic in the story. She falls head over heel in love. She wants to be married, she wants children, she wants to build a home, and that's her choice. And it's so wonderful that you kind of see all of these different ways to live your life, and a celebration of all of the different ways and all the different choices. I think it's kind of the sort of thing that I would take my 12-year-old sister to see, and I would take my dad, and I would take my mom, and I would take my cousins and my grandma, and everyone's going to enjoy it. It's genuinely funny. It's genuinely warm. It's insanely Christmassy. It's a classic. I mean, it's a classic. It's a classic for us.
I think they're just very authentic. They're very real. As you can see, we all get on incredibly well, and that was just a very natural dynamic for us to all have on and off screen. And I think it really shows. And I think with this adaptation of the book, we get to see the girls when they're older as well, and sort of watch them reflect on who they were as children and think about how that shapes them as adults. So it's just interesting to get a more sort of well-rounded look at all of the women and the men in this story. This is the thing, is that I think so many depictions of like the past have been quite stale and stiff, and I think when you think about it, it's probably because everyone sort of focuses on portraiture and paintings and sort of posed images essentially, and not very like naturalistic, more relaxed stuff. And so Greta obviously didn't want to do that because she's a great director and she's got good taste, and she looked at the work of like Winslow Homer and photographers from the time that just depicted men and women as more relaxed, and I think that in itself just made it more current, just the style of it did. It's about a person's sort of pursuit for themselves really, and who they are in the world and their place in the world, and sometimes that sort of takes form in work, and for others it takes form in the person that they find themselves falling in love with. So when Greta made this and when she pitched it to Sony, she said that this movie is about money and art, and that's what we really wanted to focus on more than anything. So that in itself makes it really fresh, I think.
I think this is an all-person film. I think one of the things that we've been discussing most recently is this is not just for women, this is for men too. We have some amazing actors in this film who display and show a different side of men that we probably won't expect in this kind of film. So it's been wonderful to be with those boys and girls during the making, and obviously during the press as well. And I think this is a film for all. I think people are especially ready in this version to see these girls thrive and love and hate and be real human sisters together. I think also this version has given all of the characters to have a real storyline and a real reason and a real conversation around them, specifically with, for example, my character. I don't think people have seen an Amy quite like this one before, and that's down to Greta. She has drive and she has ambition and she's creative. And I think that's never something that we've been allowed to learn and love about her before. So I hope people enjoy it as much as we have making it. I think the only way to create a family as close-knit as you see on screen is to kind of be there off camera as well. We all lived close by one another, and we all looked after one another and did dinners and tea parties and all of that, and it was a very safe way to make a film.
I think I'm just mostly excited to see this new reiteration, to see not just young women but also men, to see these four sisters reimagined again, and they're really vibrant characters, and I feel like Greta revitalizes the reiteration in a way. It's one of those films that has everything that you want in a film. It's Greta's created an epic, and there is romance, and there is the sacredness of sisterhood, and I think that's the most important thing, at least for me, that I get out of the film. And it's really nice to see, for once, not men who are broken and men who have vices, but men who support these women on their journey. I love all of those girls so dearly, and it's just been such a pleasure to work with everybody and also reunite with them. It's been a year since I've seen them, so there's been a lot of giggles, a lot of just like climbing on top of each other. We can't get enough of each other.
Well, it's Greta. It's Greta. All respect and honor and gratitude and praise to Louisa May Alcott. And yet, this is Greta's version. This is Greta's being and spirit animal. And it was I would do anything she wanted, but I said to her, as we started, this thing started coming together. Nice to meet you. Hi, nice to see you. And I said, why this? Because it's been done before, and I knew she'd have a good reason. There doesn't even need to be a reason. It's because she wanted to, and she's that good, basically. And there's a whole other host of reasons. A lot of these lessons, unfortunately, still need to be learned in 2019 as it relates to gender roles, but also just artistic roles and what we get to do as a human and what careers we get to pursue. And then secondarily, I really don't read reviews, but in talking to people, I love that the way people are talking about it, it's not like, no, but compared to the other things, it's like, that's not even irrelevant now because I love the Gillian Armstrong version, but it's like, this is its own thing. What was cool here was to see whoa, Emma Watson and Meryl Streep, these are huge stars, and it was cool. I felt like, whoa, I got to see this thing flower. That's the coolest part about being in show business at a young age, or at least getting to have a good time doing it or be fortunate enough to work, is these things are flowering in front of me, and so cool. It gives me hope. This is not only uplifting, not in a facetious or empty way, but just important, needs to be seen.
This movie is the most modern movie I've seen in years. It's about what it is to be an artist. It's about honoring ambition. It's about honoring your own voice. It's about women and money. It's about family, and it's raw, and it's vulnerable, and it's loud, and it's wild, and there is zero about it that is a period story. It is all about revolution. And Jo March and the story of Louisa May Alcott and her family are as modern as any tale we were ever given in American literature. We just didn't know that, I think, until Greta Gerwig kind of reopened what Louisa was giving us all those years ago. So I find it like punk rock. It's amazing, and I can't wait for everybody to get to see it. It's incredible. It's a dream come true. You wish your whole life that you work with family and that you create another family. And I, have had the privilege of that in my life only a few times, but this was remarkable. We literally all moved to Massachusetts in September of last year and spent till Christmas together. And it was and is a continued amazing dream. The most beautiful conversation I just had with an amazing playwright who lives here in New York. He said, Little Women's my favorite movie of the year. I didn't grow up with siblings. I didn't grow up with sisters, but I had a struggle to know and connect with my father. And the film is about boys learning to love their father and have their own identity. It's a movie for all of us, and it really is. It is a film about all the connections of what it means to be family in all its mess and all its beauty. It's really amazing.
Greta Gerwig, that's the filter of Greta, the magic touch. I think this is a timeless piece. It has incredibly modern and progressive themes in it throughout. My character John Brooke has this wonderful line about American women are respected for supporting themselves and following their dreams and working. The value of work when he's talking about Meg as a governess, and they have the resources to do so. So for me, playing a role, a man who was in 1863, whichever year it was, saying those kind of those words was a wonderful thing. Testament to how modern it was, how modern Louisa May Alcott was. I think anything which is timeless, it still, if its period, needs to be seen through a filter which makes it relevant. And my gosh, Greta Gerwig is the one to do that. She gives it such a unique vitality and energy and youth. She was incredibly reverent and honoured the period, and equally irreverent, and filled it with anachronism and filled it with her own stamp. It was wonderful. We had this dialect guidance, and it wasn't really about the sounds. It was more about what Greta Gerwig movie sounds like, and it was all about just giving it rhythm, giving it life. So yeah, she's the one.
Greta Gerwig's what makes it different. She's got her own secret recipe for, I think, for anything, but especially for Little Women. I mean, when she first told me she was doing this, I thought, well, that's a bad idea. We don't really need another one of those. But it's such a great adaptation, such a great original contemporary take on a story we know really well. And she's just great. She's a super talented woman. And you really feel the love and care that's gone into this movie. A lot of it's on the page. I mean, again, she'd done a lot of it in the screenplay, but she also cast the movie really well, and she also fosters an environment on the set which is just very warm and very easy to work, and she's great. I'll do anything Greta tells me to do. She's the best. We have some repeat relationships from Lady Bird. I got a chance to play with Saoirse again, who played my daughter in Lady Bird, and now I play kind of the gatekeeper to a world that she's trying to get into. And it was just great fun to get on the set with Saoirse again, and because we had such a great time making Lady Bird together. So those repeated relationships really start to pay off in a lot of ways.
To shoot the movie with so many powerful women, it was a delightful moment, because I could feel that Greta Gerwig is so connected to the book, and she has something to say, making that film, especially through the life of Jo March, you know, and Jo March is super important for her, and I think she, in a way, she thinks that Jo was her during the film, and that powerful young woman who wants to be a writer against everyone, and she's trying to be a writer, and she's gonna succeed, you know, and that's the joy of the film. Especially with the actors, because all the actresses are super young, and you know, every interpretation adds something. And I also heard about, I mean, I read the script, but I also heard that Greta manipulates a little bit the flashback and the story with the film. So I think she made some new surprises for the audience, who knew already other adaptations of Little Women. So I think they're not going to be disappointed at all, because there's a lot of inventions in the film.
Mr. Lawrence is a nice little part, so I wasn't there all the time, but walking into the atmosphere, everybody was in a really great place, you know, and I found myself really impressed on my time off watching these young talents and what they had to offer, and they're so prepared and so passionate. It was very rewarding to be a part of it. The interpretation is that Greta does play with time. She goes back and forth, doing the girls from the adult to the girls being much younger, and touching on the important stories. It's not linear.
For me, this book has been the book I've loved my whole life. These characters felt like my sisters, my family, and it's been in my heart for a very long time. And when I revisited it, I thought it was so fresh and so modern and so pressing. And I just, in my heart, I just drew this straight line from what Louisa May Alcott did to what I am able to do. And I wanted to make something that inspired the next generation of women to be writers, directors, singers, thinkers, doers. I'm proud of all of these actors. I love them so much, and I'm so honored that they all came to be in my film, and I'm so proud of the work that they did. I hope they feel inspired, and I hope that they feel warm inside, like that feeling when you want to crawl inside a movie and live inside of it. I hope that they feel like that. I hope that they feel like hugged. There's so many themes in the book that just felt like right out loud, like it's about women and ambition and money and art and the intersection between all of it, and it's something that I feel like we're always walking with our younger selves and answering to the girl who was brave and the girl who wanted to be big and ambitious. And I thought this is the way to tell this story, and this is the message to bring forward, is girls who, through themselves, change the world.
I think that classic stories can be remade because they're always relevant. And I think that it was really Greta Gerwig's take on the material that made it something that seemed urgent and essential. Because she said it was a movie about women and independence and money, and that women have always been traditionally poor, and that's why there are so few women artists. The magnificent actors. The magnificent actors. There's nothing like them. Greta was able to assemble an incredible cast. I think it's really exciting. It is a masterclass. It felt like that every day making the film. To make a story that was about Little Women and that was about Louisa May Alcott, and to capture the meta quality that was already in the book, because Joan was writing a story about her family, and then Greta was able to capture that as a film, and I think that's really exciting.
Hey, Lisa here with a bonus movie fact. During the early years of the Academy Awards, the organisation provided newspapers with the names in advance, with the agreement that they would not publish the names until 11 p.m. Of course, then someone had to ruin it for everyone when the Los Angeles Times broke this rule in 1940, announcing that Gone with the Wind had won before the statue had even been handed out. It led to a rule change that stands today. Do you like my shirt? You can get one for yourself in the link in the description.